Hello, it's just before 12 and I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna tell myself I'm gonna try and do a 10-kilometer run. Maybe I'm crazy. I haven't run in almost a week. My last run was last Friday, which was a very rubbish run, but I'm just gonna go for it. It's lovely weather out. According to my phone, it's about 5 or 6 degrees, but it's very sunny and doesn't seem to be windy. I can't hear much wind anyway. So that should be like a good level to run at. And it's now almost 12 o'clock. I had breakfast about an hour and a half ago. I'm just gonna do a warm up. I haven't warmed up yet. So I think I'll be leaving the house probably just after 12. And I think I'll be home by 1:30. That's my expectation. I would really like to try and run to 8 kilometers without stopping. Is that mad? Maybe. I did 6.5 a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was. And I knew I could have got to 7 if I'd pushed myself then. So I don't know, I want to aim for 8. We'll see, maybe I won't make it, but it's good to have a goal. I have just taken some Nurofen just in case. My leg's absolutely fine. After Friday, oh my goodness, my leg was so sore, like unbearably sore, but I decided not to take a Nurofen after because I don't want to be taking Nurofen every time I run. And after like an hour or two of resting, it did pass. So I feel like I don't really need to be taking Nurofen after the runs, but especially if I'm doing a long run like today, before the run, I probably should. I'm very nervous, but I'm excited at the thought of it. And I've got a lot of motivation from all the donations I've received. So I just really want to push myself. In fact, I'm gonna check what my donations are on at the moment. And I wanna make sure I run to at least that amount in kilometers, if that makes sense. Obviously not like 700 kilometers, but for every £100, I want to have run that kilometer. Oh my goodness. Oh, I kind of regret saying that now. I'm on 823, which is insane that I'm on that much, but that means 8.23. I might stop at 8, or I might try and push myself to 8.2. We shall see. We'll see how I'm doing. It's hard to predict at the moment how I'm gonna fare on this run, so we're just gonna go for it and see. I'll speak to you after. Let's go. I'm back and I feel amazing. I didn't even struggle as much coming up the stairs as I usually do. I ran for an hour, 5 minutes and 40 seconds, 10 kilometers. I got 10 kilometers under my goal was 106 for the race. And I got it under that for today. Just a random run on a Thursday when I haven't run in almost a week. What? I'm so happy. I'm gonna cool down. I've literally just walked through the door, as you can probably tell, and here. But I will talk to you a bit later on. Suffice it to say, I am so proud of myself and so happy. Wow. Hello. What a run. I ended up running 8.5 kilometers without stopping. And I, as I said earlier, did the full 10 kilometers in under an hour 6. And I'm so proud of myself. I did feel good. I felt like, I felt good most of the run. As soon as I went out, my left leg did start hurting and I was like, oh, come on, please no. But it did pass quite quickly and then I wasn't in pain at all for the rest of the run. I took a slightly different route to the park, which I thought would be slightly longer and slightly flatter. I thought instead of always going downhill first, I need to get used to, the track probably won't be downhill first. So I went a different route, which I think was good and I think I'll do that again. And then I was just running. And what I'd said to myself before the run was I tend to do each kilometer in about, I would say 6:30, maybe just over. And the average of the songs I listen to, I would say would be about 3.5 minutes, maybe 3. Some are much longer, obviously, because they're musical theatre, but I would say that would be the average. And so realistically, every kilometre is only 2 songs. So that was kind of the mindset I was going in with. And what I'd done, initially I'd put 10 kilometres on my app as my goal. And then I thought when I'd spoken to you about the 8.23, I changed it on my phone to 8.23, even though I knew I was going to do 10 kilometres altogether, or at least I knew that was my plan. I thought by making it my goal on my phone, then I know exactly when I can stop running rather than constantly checking my phone. And it just went so well. My average pace was faster than a lot of other runs I've done, and it was consistently faster for the whole 8.5 kilometers. And to be honest, I almost ran 9 without stopping as well. Like I took a little break at 8.5, but really little, and then I ran again, and then I took a little tiny break at like 8.95, I think. So I'm really proud of that consistent pace. I'm gonna have a look now. I haven't actually checked my app. But yeah, I think the music thing helped. I also think like the weather probably did help. There was a light breeze, which was enough to sort of not make me too hot, but it was warm with the sun. But until about, I would say the 5th kilometer, maybe even further, I was very much just in a groove. Like it didn't feel like a struggle. It didn't feel like it was going to be hard. I did again have a slight dip at around 1.4 to about 2 point something. It wasn't as long this time, but I did have that dip. But I knew, I was like, I just need to get to 3 kilometers and then I'll be fine. But I think I didn't even need to get that far. And when I got to my 4th kilometer, I was at 24 minutes, call it 50 something. And so in my head, I was like, do I speed up and try and get my 5 kilometers in under half an hour or at half an hour, but then potentially sabotage the next 3.23 kilometers? And so I decided not to. And I don't know, maybe tomorrow we'll aim for the half hour. I don't know. At some point, I definitely want to aim and like really focus on getting 5 kilometers in under half an hour. But I think the consistency and the endurance was more important for me today. I've got loads of badges today. I got 5 badges. So my average tempo for the whole run was 6:34, which I think has been my average generally. But the fact that I've been able to still have that same average for 10 kilometers as I do for 5 kilometers feels very impressive for my own like standards. And especially because at the beginning, that was exactly what I was saying. I was saying about how much I really wanted that to be something to achieve, consistency. So I'm pleased with that. My map is weird again, really weird, because it's saying that I started where I didn't start. And it's saying that the 1 kilometer isn't where the 1 kilometer was. So I'm not going to trust this map. I don't like that it does that though. It's very annoying because it's been many times that it's messed up. I've seen so much about Strava. Everyone recommends Strava and everyone uses Strava, but I don't want to change. Maybe if I continue running, I don't know. I don't think it's important enough to me as long as it recognizes my pace and my distance, and like only those two really. Those are the main things I need to know. And the breakdown of each kilometer, that's fine. So my first kilometer was actually a lot faster than recent ones. It was 5:42. Then it went to 6:24 for the second, 6:28 for the third, 6:24 for the fourth, 6:16 for the fifth. So even though I told myself I wouldn't speed up, I obviously tried to. I did feel more tired as I got to the end of the fifth. And I think that is because I was probably pushing myself subconsciously. 6:26 for the sixth, 6:38 for the seventh, 6:24 for the eighth. Also, once I passed 5 kilometers, I did sort of let myself slow down a bit. I felt like I was going quite fast today. And obviously I wasn't going super fast, but I was going a bit faster than my recent average. And I really said to myself, like, I need to slow down because if I don't slow down, I'm not going to get to 8.23. But yeah, so 6:24 for 8 and then 6:59 for 9. So that is obviously, I did slow down in between. And then the 10th kilometer was 7:51, but I did walk more and it was also uphill and, that's okay. So let's see all my badges. I did my fastest 5K, which again, I don't think that's true. It says 31:12, but I think there was that run I did, that was 31:06, that it just never saved. I did the longest distance, the longest time. I have a new record for my 10K, which is fair enough. And I've been running for 4 weeks in a row. But I did 10 kilometers and it's kind of made me feel, I've got 3 weeks now until the race. Maybe I can run the full 10K, which would be insane. Like I had never planned for that. I'd always said, I'm going to have to stop and walk for some of it. It's literally not until, I was on the run that I was thinking, maybe I'll be able to run the full 10K, which is, I can't imagine it. It's also crazy because 10K is quite a distance, but I'm just doing loads and loads of laps in one tiny little park. How far is 10 kilometers? I can't visualize it. I don't even know how to see on a map. How am I gonna... what about from here to Leicester Square? Why is it not giving me a distance? Under 10 kilometers. That's crazy. I could run from here to Leicester Square. That's crazy. That is wild. I'm trying to think, in a car, I'm going to look up in my hometown, in Australia, because the roads are more built for cars there. What am I looking up for? What about from my house to school in Australia? Because that was always a long journey. That's a really long journey. Yeah, okay, that's 13 kilometers. That's crazy. According to the map, it's only a 20-minute journey by car. Maybe that's because it's the middle of the night in morning traffic. I can assure you it was not 20 minutes. It was closer to an hour. Okay, so it's a little bit less than from my house to school. That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm very proud. And it's already almost 4 o'clock. And as you can see, I'm still in my pajamas and have just been chilling. I need to go to work in about 2 hours. And my work today is going to be standing for, I think, about 4 hours. So that'll be fun. My back is very sore. Nothing else is sore, but my back is very sore. And I don't know if that is from the running or other things. I've always got problems with my back. That's not a new thing, but it's notably more sore today, which seems like such a strange thing to be hurting after a run. Oh, that's what else I was going to say. I don't know if the strength training helped with today, maybe, but I did such like minimal things that I can't imagine it would have affected much. Obviously, I think a major thing was mentality, but I did also allow myself, first of all, I was more well rested today than, well, that's not true, but I did allow myself more time to warm up before. Like I did a far more thorough warm up than usual, and maybe that helped. And I also did a very nice cool down after. That wouldn't help, obviously, but it felt good. Anyway, I'm gonna get on with my day, but yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm so proud. Yee. Hello, good, I would say morning, but it's not. It's almost, well, it is exactly 2 o'clock. I'm gonna go for a run today. My real goal is 5 kilometers in 30 minutes. I'm gonna just try and get as close to it as I can. It's sort of been on and off raining. At the moment it's not, but it might start raining while I'm out. That's okay. All I care about is just doing this 5K as fast as I can. So I'm hoping by the time I've warmed up, but by the time I get my shoes on and everything, I'm hoping that by the time I come home, it'll be 2:45. Because I'm aiming for this 5K in 30 minutes, I'm gonna stay in the park until I've done the 5K and then I'll leave. So it's gonna take a bit longer overall. Like I will probably have ended up doing 5.5 or something, but I just really wanna try and it might not be half an hour, but I wanna, can we get it under 31 minutes? That would be good. I think my actual best time was 31:06. Yesterday I did 31:12, I think it was. Can we get under 31? Let's find out. I think it's going to be hard for me because I'm going to want to push myself early on, but then I'm going to get tired later, whereas I think it would be better if I'm a little bit slower at the start, but then for the 4th and 5th kilometer maybe I can push myself more. I don't know. I'm just going to go for it, do my best, hope for the best, and I'll let you know after how it's gone. Didn't quite make half an hour, but definitely my fastest 5K yet. Also one of my least favourite runs so far. I will speak to you once again after I'm a little bit more put together, shall we say. Hello, so I did 5 kilometers in, I think it was 30 minutes 24, let me just double check. I've got a badge for it. 30 minutes 30. So we did get it under 31, which is great. I could not have run any faster. I was so tired. I think my first kilometer was the thing that really gave me that, because that one was 5 minutes 5, and then the next one was 6:26, the third was 6:23, the fourth was 6:31, and the fifth was 6:08. So I obviously did speed up for the 5th, even though I wasn't necessarily trying to, but I guess I did. I didn't realise I'd slowed down quite so much for the 2nd, but I guess that's just what happens. I felt I started off very fast, and I was worried that that was going to sort of come back to bite me. But then equally in my head, I was like, well, I may as well make the most of this. These maps are so weird. They never show the truth. Okay, we just have to ignore the map, I guess. But I definitely couldn't have run any longer at that pace. Like the last few 100 meters, I was really struggling and kept wanting to stop. I didn't, and I'm really glad I didn't, but it's definitely not going to be, like for me, I think the 10K is really not going to be about speed. I think it would be nice if I could run the full 10 kilometers. I think that would be nice. And considering I did 8.5 yesterday, I feel like it might be doable. I think the biggest problem is I don't know how much elevation there's going to be and where it's going to be. And as soon as it's even slightly elevated, I'm not happy. So I guess we'll have to see how that's going to be on the day. But then again, I will have adrenaline and there'll be people around me, so maybe that will sort of push me to keep going. But yeah, I think now that's my main goal. I keep changing it for this race, but I think my main goal is just to be able to run the full 10K. That wasn't a goal before because I didn't think it was possible, but if I can run 8.5 without stopping, maybe I can run 10. In the end, I did 5.76 kilometers today, but a lot of that, like the last 750 meters, was walking. Although interestingly, my average pace has really been brought down. It's 6:23. Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of today, but it wasn't fun. I don't really want to be doing it again that often. I think once in a while is good because I would really like to be able to get under half an hour, and I'm sure having different focuses is probably good as well. I know you're meant to do like a tempo run, which is probably what today would be considered, a long run, an easy run, and intervals. I think those are the 4 things I've seen the most on Instagram. I will sometimes add on intervals at the end of my run, but like not really, not properly. And I would say all my long runs are also attempts at easy runs, in the sense of I'm trying to just feel comfortable during those runs. I'm not trying to push myself in any way other than doing a longer distance. So, I don't know. I'm very much picking and choosing my training, and so far it seems to be working. I feel like I'm improving. I think a really, really big thing though is just the mentality. Like today, I really felt that. I've definitely felt sort of multiple times I could just stop, and it was very much me telling myself, no, I'm not going to. So yeah, I am pleased with today, but I can't say I feel great about it, and I think that is partly because the run was tough. But it's cool to see improvements and to show myself that I can do that. I'm hoping I'll have time to run again on Sunday. I don't know what I'm gonna try and do on Sunday. I don't know if I'm gonna have time for a long run. I think it's gonna depend what time I wake up. Oh, one other thing though. I think I need to buy some nail clippers because my nails dig into like the toe that's next to it, and it's sore and unpleasant and not fun. So that might be an emergency purchase. Anyway, hopefully I will see you on Sunday and see what's up. Yay! Good morning. My plan for today is just a short run. It looks like it's quite nice weather. It's quite sunny. It is cold though, according to my app. Like it's, I think, 1 or 2 degrees. I technically have time for a longer run, but I am sort of a little bit pushed for time, so I'd rather do a shorter one. And also I'd like to wear the new shoes. So I think what I'm gonna do is do the route that I did last time that I hated so much, the 5K. But I only made that a 5K by sort of going in and out of roads to like add distance. So I won't do that this time, and I'm just gonna run sort of straight home. And there are some hills, so what I'm hoping is, I think it'll be about 3 kilometers, maybe 3.5. I'm hoping that I can just get through those 3.5 kilometers or whatever it is, and just, push myself through the hills. I think that's the main thing, because that is my absolute downfall. And so far the park is quite flat, so I've not really had to face it that much, but I have no idea what the inclination is like on the actual 10K course that I'm doing. So just a little bit of hill practice I think will be good. And again, just wearing the new shoes and breaking them in a bit more and, just going out. But I am going to try and make this like a chill run. I don't want to be pushing myself too much. And my leg is fine, so I've not taken a Nurofen. We'll see how I do after the run, but for now I'm just going to leave it. I've not really noticed any problems with it since those last few runs, which is great. But I'm gonna warm up now, and then I'm gonna go for a run, and then I will speak to you after. I'm back. My calves are incredibly sore, but I did over 5 kilometers, which is kind of surprising, and it's now 10 to 11, so I've got to do some things, and then I will talk to you after if I've got time. Hello, so today's run. When I left, I can't say I was feeling great. I felt like I was going fast, but I also felt like I could tell that I was going too fast and I couldn't figure out how to slow myself down. But I did feel like I was going too fast in the sense of I'm gonna run out of energy before even the 3 kilometers are up. And then as I was sort of getting to that point of feeling like I was already sort of using up all my energy, it went downhill, so that kind of helped. And then I definitely got into a flow. I was kind of sort of zoned out and just my legs were doing their own thing and I wasn't even thinking or feeling anything, which was great. That's when I run my best, I feel, when I'm not thinking. And then I decided to take a different route, not being entirely sure where it would lead me, but just sort of hoping for the best, because I knew I was near home. Everything was near home today. But I got somewhere and it was the bottom of a really big hill. And I was not happy about it, but I knew I would need to get to the top of that hill one way or another, whether I took this specific road that was direct up or like smaller hills up. But either way, I needed to get back up, which makes sense considering I'd run downhill for a bit beforehand. But I ran up this hill. I think this was around the 3rd kilometer and I was really struggling. In fact, let me see if I can see what my speed was at that point. I didn't stop running. The whole 5 kilometers in the end, I didn't stop running, which is great, but it was a struggle. Oh, I've got some badges. We'll have a look at those in a second. Okay, so at that point, my pace did go down to about 7:30 for that stretch. And then I got to the top of the hill and it didn't bring me where I thought it was going to bring me. I thought it was more or less going to bring me straight home, but it didn't. I was forced to turn and I didn't know where that would lead me. But I had a vague idea. I was like, right, but where I thought it was going to lead me was it was going to bring me downhill a little bit and then I would have to do another big uphill, and I was not happy about that. I enjoyed the slight downhill, certainly, and I was really trying to use that to sort of steady my heart rate a little. But then when I got to where I thought I was going to have to go uphill again, I was actually much closer to home. And at this point, I think I was around 3.5 kilometers-ish. And I was very ready to stop. I was very ready to just go home. And I passed another runner going the other direction. And I suddenly thought to myself, wait a minute, it's a Sunday and you get a badge for doing a Sunday 5K, which is not a good reason to do a 5K, but it works. And I knew it was another 1.5 kilometers. Like, it's not just a couple of 100 meters here, it's 1.5 kilometers. but I just went for it like a mad woman. So I went downhill a little bit, which was very nice. But obviously when you go downhill, you have to go back up. And so I had to go up again, which again was a bit of a struggle. It wasn't as much of a struggle. It wasn't as steep, but it was still not very fun. And then I did another circle and like went round a roundabout to like get some extra 100 meters in. And then I ran back home. So in the end, I did 5.1 kilometers in 32 minutes and 44, not bad actually. Especially when sort of I'm aware of the fact that I did hills and I didn't stop. I didn't stop for the hills. I got through them and I kept going. And I really feel like I could have kept running. I had to stop myself because I knew I was in a rush in terms of my timeline for today. But I definitely felt maybe not so many hills anymore after that, but I definitely could have, you know, if it had been flat surfaces, I could have done another couple of kilometers, I reckon, which is crazy. The only thing I will say is after that last hill, when I went back up, my calves were starting to hurt. Not terribly, but they were starting to hurt. And then when I stopped running and came up the stairs, they were very sore. They're still a little bit tight now, and I've been trying to stretch them and do things. It's not as bad, and I think it will fade, but yeah, it's there. This is very cool. I'm just having a look. My first kilometer was 6:09, but my second was 5:59. So that's kind of cool. And what are my badges? I've been running 6 months in a row. Crazy. I ran 3 times in the week, and I did the Sunday 5K. Nice. So yeah, I'm glad I did that. But it was a struggle. And this was also one where I didn't take a Nurofen before or after. And maybe that's why my calves are hurting more. Maybe the Nurofen is disguising it, which maybe isn't great. But I'm kind of pleased that I can do it without Nurofen. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I think maybe we'll leave this video here. I don't know how much I've chatted to you. I can't remember what I've done this week. But I feel like we're going to leave it here because the next 2 weeks I've got such limited time to run. And that's the 2 weeks before the run. So I might combine those 2 weeks into one video and then we'll have a video for the run itself. Ooh, crazy, 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 crazy. I'm not sure off the top of my head if this goes out before or after the run, but if it goes out before, once again, there is a donation link. I know I keep pressing for it, but I'm now at over £900. So if we can get it to 1,000, that would be great. So again, link is below, and yeah, I would just really appreciate it if it's still open and available. It would be amazing. All right, thanks. Bye.